Okay, so for this week's video, the topic this week is audio hardware, and the subtopic I wanted to go into is microphone types. So basically, dynamic versus condenser microphones, and when they might be used, how they work, and basically how they can be applied in a creative setting. So starting with dynamic microphones are much more ideal for live performance settings as they can handle higher levels of sound. And they're very good at filtering out the background noise. So basically, wherever the front of that microphone is facing is where it will pick up sound from, and anything around it, it's able to filter that out very well. However, they're not as good as picking up on the quieter, more subtle sounds, which is what condenser microphones are much better at. And so the two we have here, there's large diaphragm and small diaphragm condenser microphones. So condenser microphones are better at picking up the more detail, they have greater clarity, and they can reproduce sound more accurately to how we hear it. And so the difference between these two, each has their pros and cons. But so on the left here, the large diaphragm, these are able to pick up more of the low end sounds, whereas the small diaphragm are better for picking up detail on the higher end. So the one on the left, large diaphragm condenser microphones are also able to handle higher sound pressure levels and low frequencies. But on the right, the small diaphragm condenser microphones, they're very good at picking up the more intricate, more detailed sounds. And that is because the part that vibrates is smaller and it's able to react much faster. And so what I mean by that is we see here in this diagram, sound waves come through and hit this front plate, the diaphragm. And so basically, what this does is this conductive membrane vibrates in response to the sound waves, and it works together with the backplate to form an electrostatic capacitor. So, what is a capacitor? The job of a capacitor is to convert sound waves into an electrical signal. And so when sound waves cause the diaphragm to vibrate, the distance between these plates change, and this alters the capacitance. And this is what creates the fluctuating electrical charge that represents the original signal. And so the example I want to use of when um, the microphones may be used is with Nirvana's MTV Unplugged performance. So we see Kurt Cobain, and the microphone he's singing into is a dynamic microphone. And so, as we said before, dynamic microphones are um, much better at rejecting background noise and ideal for a live acoustic setting because this stage is filled with lots of other instruments. And so a condenser microphone would pick up those sounds, whereas a dynamic microphone is able to filter them out. But if we look right down here at Kurt Cobain's guitar, just to the bottom right of it, we see this little small diaphragm condenser microphone. And so the reason that's being used to pick up the guitar is because, as we know, condenser microphones are very sensitive and they pick up the fine, soft details. So when we have a performance like this, like MTV Unplugged, uh, the point of it is to kind of create a more intimate acoustic feeling, which is essentially what this small diaphragm microphone is helping to create. So when playing acoustic guitar, there's very many, little sounds that are produced, like the string plucking, the strumming, the fret noises with the hand movement. And so when you listen to this MTV Unplugged set, you're able to hear all of these because of these small condenser microphones that are being used to pick up the instruments, which is what makes the performance feel much more real and intimate. And a large diaphragm condenser microphone could have been used here. Maybe could have added depth, but that also might have clashed with Kurt Cobain's voice, which is what makes the small condenser microphone more ideal in this situation.